Hey everyone, and welcome back to Mission 1820 and this week's episode of Have You Ever Wondered? If you're just joining us, we have been in a series called Books of the Bible, where we are giving introductions into each book of the Bible in just 5 minutes or less. So without further ado, let's get to this week's book. The second book of Kings. This is the 12th book of the Bible, and it's also the 7th book of the 12 historical books found in the Old Testament. Now, the book itself continues that drama that began in 1 Kings, as well as the history of Israel, which has now been divided. The two kingdoms have really begun to slide into idolatry and corruption toward their eventual collapse and captivity. Now, the book relates the stories of the 12 kings of the northern kingdom of Israel, and then the 16 kings of the southern kingdom of Judah. Now, for 130 years, Israel, they just endured a complete succession of evil rulers and kings until they were conquered by the Assyrians in 722 BC. But out of all the kings for both the northern and southern kingdoms, there were only two kings who were called good and did right in the eyes of the Lord. And they were King Hezekiah and King Josiah. Now, because they were good, God did allow the southern kingdom of Judah that they ruled to stand for an additional 136 years before finally being destroyed by the Babylonians in 585 BC. Now, the book of 2 Kings can be divided into two sections. The first being the divided kingdom, and this is found in chapters 1 through 17 and has a time frame of about 131 years, from 853 to 722 BC. Now, the second section is called the surviving kingdom. This is found in chapters 18 through 25. Covers 155 years from 715 to 560 BC. Now, the book again doesn't name its author. However, Jewish tradition still holds that the prophet Jeremiah was the author of both books. Now, the book itself covers 25 chapters, and it's pretty dense with people, events, and activities, which can sometimes make it difficult to follow due to the authors jumping back and forth between the northern and the southern kingdoms. However, some of the key places you'll read about are going to include Jericho. Now, this is where Elijah's ministry came to an end. You read about Shunem. This is where Elijah raised the Shunammite woman's son from the dead. And you'll read about Dothan. This is where Elijah cured a commander's leprosy. Now, as for key people, you are going to read about a lot of kings, 38 to be exact. And you're going to read about the prophets of Elijah and Elisha. You're going to read about Naaman, that's the Assyrian commander, as well as Isaiah. Now, he's another prophet of God. You know, the book is not short on miracles either. You know, many of the miracles that Elijah performed are actually foreshadows of Jesus Christ himself, such as raising a woman's son from the dead. He healed another person of leprosy, and he multiplied loaves of bread to feed 100 people with leftovers. Now, the second book of Kings was originally written to preserve the history of Israel and Judah for those Jews that were living in exile in Babylon, and for them also to learn from the lessons of their history about the consequences of unfaithfulness to God and about God's patience and faithfulness. So let me close by saying this. If you're really wondering as to why we need to read all these books of the Old Testament, the reason is because all these books have been given by inspiration of God. God provided all these books for a reason, which makes these books so necessary in growing stronger as Christians. So with that, I hope this introduction will help get you started in the second book of Kings. So God bless, and thanks for watching.